Good day everyone, I'm Nieslyn Horino, a student of Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. After learning the subject, Philippine popular culture, I am here to present about the American regime. On May 1, 1898, the Americans, led by U.S. Navy Admiral George Dewey, in participation of Emilio Aguinaldo, attacked the Spanish Navy in Manila Bay. Faced with defeat, the Philippines was ceded to the United States by Spain in 1898 after a payment of $20 million to Spain in accordance with the Treaty of Paris ending the Spanish-American War. On June 12, 1898, Filipinos led by Emilio Aguinaldo declared independence. This declaration was opposed by the U.S. who had plans of taking over the colony, and this led to a guerrilla war against the Americans. Hostilities broke out on February 4, 1899 after two American privates on patrol killed three Filipino soldiers in San Juan, Manila. This incident sparked the Philippine-American War, which would cost far more money and took far more lives than the Spanish-American War. The revolution was effectively ended with the capture of Aguinaldo by General Frederick Winston at Palanan, Isabela on March 23, 1901 and was brought to Manila. Influenced of the uselessness of further resistance, he swore allegiance to the United States, which officially bring an end to the war. Civil government established by the Americans in 1901 with William Howard Taft as the first American Governor-General of the Philippines. Some measures of Filipino self-rule were allowed, however, an elected Filipino legislature was established in 1907. In 1916, the Philippine Autonomy Act, widely known as the Jones Law, was passed by the U.S. Congress, which served as the new Organic Act for the Philippines, stated that the ultimate independence of the Philippines would be American policy. The law placed executive power in the Governor-General of the Philippines, appointed by the President of the United States, but established a bicameral Philippine legislature to replace the elected Philippine Assembly and appoint the Philippine Commission. In 1932, Hair Hose Cutting Act, passed by U.S. Congress, provided for complete independence of the Philippines after 10 years of self-government under U.S. supervision. But Manuel L. Quezon opposed it because of the provisions leaving naval bases in U.S. hands. Finally, Philippine legislature passed a new Philippine Independence Act, popularly known as the Tidings-McDuffie Act, a law granting of Philippine independence by 1946 and closely looked like Hair Hose Cutting Act but struck provisions for American bases and further studied to correct imperfections or inequalities. On May 14, 1935, an election of newly created office of the President of the Commonwealth, similar to the U.S. Constitution, was won by Manuel L. Quezon. Inaugurated on November 15, 1935, the Commonwealth featured a unicameral National Assembly and a Supreme Court composed entirely of Filipinos for the first time since 1901. The new government's agenda was establishing national defense, greater control over the economy, reforms in education, improvement of transport, colonization of the island of Mindanao, and promotion of local capital and industrialization. The Commonwealth, however, faced with agrarian unrest, an uncertain diplomatic and military situation in Southeast Asia, and uncertainty about the U.S. commitment to the future Republic of the Philippines. Democracy was the greatest legacy the Americans gave us. The government has now three branches: executive, president, legislative, Senate and Congress, and the judiciary, or Department of Justice. Schools were built all over the country in making English as a medium of instructions. The first teachers were called Thomasites because they came on board the USS Thomas. The Philippine economy was improved due to the increase of agricultural production and development of new industries. Transportation and communication was also improved. Americans built roads, streets and bridges for efficient movement of products and services. The Filipino attitude was gradually changed. We learned to be frank, humorous, believe in rights and freedom. Pagmamano was replaced by kissing the cheeks of parents and elders as a sign of respect. Mode of dressing was also changed. The women learned to wear dresses, high-heeled shoes, and handbags, while the men wore suits, polo shirts, ties, and jeans. Hollywood movies became popular in the country. New kinds of music and dance were introduced like rock and roll, boogie, jazz, tango, and cha-cha. Filipinos learned to watch and play games like basketball, volleyball, and football. The negative impact of American colonization were buying of imported products, lost self-confidence. As a result, our culture was neglected, replacing Filipino values like pagmamano by saying hi or hello, and Filipino food was replaced by American food such as hot dog and French fries. Until now, the influence of American imperialism is still existing, but patriotism and embracing our own culture is the key to break the colonial mentality instilled in us by history.